right.
All right, all right, all right.
Maybe not. What's happening over here?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
All right then. Let's go. Let's go. Well, it's what is this? Good afternoon. Good morning. Good evening, and welcome to the Bantu TV podcast for June 16th, 2024. Welcome everybody. My name is Kalinda Shichinda.
Are you
I
sure today
am.
is June 16th?
Isn't it June 16th today? What's the date?
I was on it.
Oh my word! I'm sorry. I came home late. Sorry. June 23rd.
Oh my
I
God.
haven't had
Now
enough.
we're talking about last week's podcast now.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I mean, I haven't had enough sleep yet, but yeah, leave me alone.
Hmm.
I'm trying to, but I
Okay.
appreciate the correction. So, welcome to the Bantu TV podcast, and my sincere apologies on those date mix-ups. I guess my head is still in the gutter, and yeah, I'll say my name is Kalinda Shachinda. Every Sunday, I broadcast out of the Hoosier state of Indiana, and the city is Indianapolis. And actually, if you want to do your vuvuzelas, and I must apologize, my voice is a little cracky today, so just give me a give me a little grace.
A
All
break.
right,
Okay, no problem. Yeah,
yeah.
this is Tanda Lufia calling all the way or broadcasting live from Ontario, Canada, guys. We're here to discuss, of course, the most important headlines that hit the streets of Zambia, and we're trying to digest and see where we can share ideas. So if everybody wants to join in, just click the link. It's right there. Join us, or you can also post your comment, and it will be highlighted, and you'll be able to participate in that way. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and let's go ahead and get into the game.
Yeah, maybe before we do, we have somebody that came
Mhm.
through today. Let's see where he's joining us from. Lazarus Mbula, welcome to the podcast. Please tell us where you are joining this podcast from, and we welcome you to our platform. You can unmute yourself. You know we don't bite. We don't bite at all, Mr. Mbula. Okay, maybe he's just want to listen in. So back to Luffy, I guess for right now it's just the two of us, and you know how he likes to talk. So I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the floor to do what you need to do. So
Okay.
Edwin, should we jump into the first topic?
Of
And
course. Yeah.
it's my favorite topic of all times, and I'm
Hmm.
not ashamed to say this. And so this is the dare by ECL this past week, daring HH to lift his immunity. He claims he's never stolen anything from the Zambian people. Yeah, you guys are being just vindictive. You claim he's stolen some money, but he's never stolen a dime. What do you think
Hmm.
about that dare?
Oh my God. Oh, 1 minute. Yeah. Oh, let's go ahead. Let me just do one thing. Sorry, 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 sorry. Um. Yeah. So what I think about it is that one, Valungu should be apologetic first of all, first and foremost, before anything, and then if he's daring the current government.
Oh, okay. We lost him. He will be back, and we have here Mr. Bolo, who says he's joining us from Atlanta. Perfect. Georgia in the building. Yeah, actually, if you go ahead, we lost you there for just a moment.
Yeah, yeah. So like I was saying, look, Valungu is the daring the current government should be the last thing he should be doing. Like you know that you've got so many cases surrounding you. You know that you've done so much harm to the current government, its members, and the people of Zambia as a whole. And then you want to dare them to do that. And President H actually was very humane when he said, "Look, as much as I was, persecuted, prosecuted, jailed, and put to Mukobeko, and here's the thing: people were saying that he wasn't on death row. Abantu abali death row bayakwisa kanchi. Like I'm trying to understand one thing because Mukobeko prison was only meant for one thing, for the
Right.
condemned prisoners, for people who are on death row. Akare like Kobeka, that's why it's called Mukobeko. They used to like hang people there. You see? Not until the laws were changed. They say we cannot be doing this as a Christian nation. So now they'll rather just jail you for life. So he was on death row. That's what death row means. And that's what that prison is meant for. Tebuchimbwakaila, or Parimai. No, 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 no. This is not what it is. When they take you there, there's no other place they can take you from there. That's it. That's it. You're dead. You're gone. Oops, sorry. So that's what happened. And yeah. So that's my point on my contribution on that
Right. Um, well, you know, Mr. Lungu, I mean, I don't even know where to start, but Sophia, when it comes to Balungu, I just don't get it. He has such an um, selfish view of the country. He feels that the country owes him something, or Zambians owes him something, or Zambia can't function without him. And all these dares, I'd like to think these are, the last kicks of a dying horse, so to speak. Uh, because how do you dare somebody that's given you the grace to live the kind of life that most Zambians dream of? Because, I mean, truthfully speaking, uh, if Mr. Lungu was, say, in one of these West African countries, by now, I mean, we know what those West Africans do to their former leaders who they view have stolen some money, or have taken advantage of them once they leave power. Uh, you know, that Mr. Lungu would have been a history. So I really don't understand why he doesn't accept the grace that's been accorded to him and the respect. And uh, ride your horse to the sunset. Enjoy your Jamison. Enjoy, what you do best. Drink your alcohol in peace. Why is he trying to just make things I don't know, I don't let me recollect my thoughts, because when I start talking about Valungu, about Sufi, you know how I get animated. I get very, very emotional, very, sometimes I lose caution to the wind. But anyway, so where was I? Yeah, Mr. Lungu really has to. I don't know whether he needs maybe to see a shrink or something, because I just don't understand his thought process. I mean, for somebody who's told us he's a top-notch lawyer, where would you put yourself in harm's way? So if 2 weeks from now, this government say, okay, well, he's given us a dare, and we know this is what he's done, and well, HH might just go to Parliament and lift the, immunity, and then what?
one.
And then
Right.
what, Balungu?
Mm.
What? What, Sophia?
Yeah, well, you see, that's why I was just looking at watching his speech or the rally they had, Yaba Ukwa, in Kitwe. Um, I was like, he has no shame. He was there, parading himself. Of course, he looked a little bit. We don't want to say the word, but
No, he was. I mean, me, I'll say it. He
I mean,
was seemingly drunk.
and he was there, talking, this, taking that, with Mwaise, and he was busy saying that uh, mulestandani kana ati ngawalisa kuli ine efwe bakalamba tuli bakalamba. If you could have come to me, I could have told you how to handle all these issues, all these problems that are happening. Even balungu bamzala wanje, you were in power for over 7 years, or for 7 years. Reached a much correct my issues, yeah, before your friend came into power. Now
Mm-hmm.
that you're outside looking in, you think that you've got all the brilliant ideas. What happened to those brilliant ideas when you were in power? Atawe, wekeleni kunuma. Turefa mutuvote nomba. We want to start giving you ama results. Like Zambians, they're already moving forward. Why would they want to come back? Hmm?
Mm-hmm.
Why would they want to come back? So me, I was like, Rwanda, but surely out of the whole big self, your statesman, so-called statesman, why happened with a crowd full of kids? They just wanted to see you. Hukulumba, you feel, 'cause Zambian people, they're very clever. Balalumba, hukulumba kwena balalumba. But when it comes to making decisions, it's a different story. So, iliai nothing motivation, people are saluting him, they're vouching for him, they're cheering for him, but they don't know that the copper belt actually should be the last place they should be going, because the copper belt is now online because of the current government. Money Fiama policies they've brought. Look at all these mines coming on online. Look at all these investors coming in, paying off Amananikane, Ama debtors. People are like, however, this was never happening. In the last 20 and 23 years, Shaft 28 was closed. People lost their jobs. Now people are going back to work. So you would want to go and convince. What are you going to tell the people of the copper bill? What consultation? That AH can come to you to tell him to say, oh, me allowance will pay my students, don't give them. Ama mines mulaisa muiswa. What consultation? Because they were closing everything. They were closing the mines. They removed meal allowances. People were out of employment. So what are you going to tell us that's new, that we don't know? Huh? Maybe you've reached a eureka moment. Well, Nico, I haven't heard anything yet. I don't know what everybody else thinks.
Well, let's bring in a new entrant, Masoe Nyanga. That name sounds familiar. Tell us where you're joining us from, sir, and welcome to the podcast today. Your thoughts on Mr. Lungu's dare on HH to lift his immunity. What's your opinion surrounding that, sir? Come in.
Good evening, panel. I don't know what that old man is really thinking. Instead of asking HH to lift his immunity, why can't he tell his friends or the opposition in parliament to propose for his immunity to be lifted, if he so wishes?
Right.
Yeah, what you were saying yesterday is it's just a self-appeasement. There is nothing Valongo can do what he didn't do in the last 7 years. You
Mm-hmm.
know? Yeah, he hasn't told us what he can do differently from what the current government is doing. All he does is HH this, HH that. He has really not. I saw a clip on Voice of America, where he was being asked the same question. What are you going to do differently? He failed to answer. You know. So
Mm-hmm.
really, he's just a time waster. I don't know.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, very valid points there. Let me bring in Mr. Mbula. Let's see if he's ready to join us. Mr. Mbula, are you ready to add your thoughts to Mr. Lungu's um, dare, or I'll call it a stunt, really. Any comment that you want to add to what everybody has been talking about? There he is. Oh, I think your audio is a little, we can't hear you, the sound.
Okay. Can you
Oh,
hear me
now,
now?
now we can, yes. Now we can.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hello. Good to see everyone. Good afternoon. Good
Uh,
morning, depending where you are.
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just trying to listen in. Trying not to be like Vakalinda animated about the whole thing. Some things
Sorry,
probably.
he just drives me crazy. I'm sorry. You know.
Some things probably is best to just watch. It's so amazing. I visited Zambia recently, and it's interesting to listen to people still have so much interest and think that Edgar and this team can actually come and do much better than what HH is. I think it's a I don't know. Maybe we need to do something with our education system. Some of these things, especially at high policy level, economic and all these social, environmental, it's
Mm.
hard to explain in a simple term for most people, like what HH has been doing. For instance, they've been trying to restructure the debt and be able to, address because Zambia, remember, uh, we failed to pay our debts, so we defaulted. And that has a huge impact on how much Zambia can borrow and on even investment coming into the country. So, for the last few years, HH and this team have been trying to address that so that we can clear up to be able to, address how we'll be dealing with the debt and also investment and also how the kwacha is affected by that. But those are high level things which are hard to explain to people. People understand more about the price of mini meal, which it's much more basic, but there are much more serious things. So I don't know how best to explain it. That's why even Ilungu can try to stand up and say what he's saying because people don't really understand or the complexity of everything, the mess they did, which is being reflected in what's happening now. Of course, it's hard to say.
Right,
Yes.
and that's a tragedy, isn't that? Isn't that that's a tragedy for our country when these Ukwa guys and Lungu, Mr. Lungu especially, thinks that Zambians are simple-minded, so he can just come and say whatever his drunken filled mind. Excuse my French, but I mean that's the way I would look at it, because you cannot have such a person propagating such lies to the masses out there. And of course, maybe our people on the markets will buy the message. But let me bring in the man, the mystery. He knows himself. Deep thinker. Welcome back to the podcast. Oh, unmute yourself, deep thinker. What are you doing?
Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening if you are joining from Zambia. This is Valentine joining in from St. Louis, Missouri, in the Midwest of the United States.
Right, and so you just joined it at the right time. I know how you stand when it comes to Mr. Lungu, but I still want to hear your comment on his latest stunt, where he's daring our Republican president to leave the immunity so he can be prosecuted for all the crimes that the Zambian people think he did. Your comment on that? I can't wait to hear.
In the olden days before we knew better, those of you that grew up in the 80s, we used to when you have a vegetable garden and then the vegetables are beginning to wilt out like they're dying because of insects or whatever, my parents would say put logo on those vegetables and then to kill the insects and everything. Lungu is spreading logo.
Mm,
He's
that's
about
a
to
good
drink that
analogy.
logo that he's spreading out.
Mm, that's a good
So,
analogy. That's a good analogy.
so you
Yeah.
one, you do not dare somebody who has the instruments of power. He's
Mm,
trying to be right. He's trying to change the country. He's trying not to use every instrument he has to lay it on any Zambian. He's trying to show Zambians that there is a better way of dealing with the things and dealing with each other.
mm,
Now, call for your immunity to be lifted and see what is going to happen when the one who's actually protecting you decides to listen to you and lift your immunity. Let's just
mm,
wait and see.
mm, mm.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah,
Just to
I
add
mean,
on,
go
just
ahead,
to add
Latitia.
on what Deep Think has just said, uh, you know, it's so funny that he's daring the government, but look at this. They are saying that actually there isn't even, in fact, there isn't any need to lift his immunity because according to the laws stipulated, once you come back into politics, when you resign and then you come back into politics, everything that's going to be done from the time he joined politics going forward, he can easily be prosecuted. So he's not protected with anything right now. He doesn't have an immunity as we speak. Valungu does not have immunity. Okay, so if he ever commits any crime, okay, even if the government, if they really just wanted to lock him up, they can do it. But because we're living in the land of laws and we're living in a government that respects the laws of the land, and all they would do is just wait, because I mean we know how the PF, the UQA, their team, how they operate. You know, everything is very illegal, everything is not right. One day or another, he'll find himself in a situation where he'll be found doing some illegal stuff, and he'll be arrested. And the immunity won't even kick in there because you're not a former president. You're in politics now. So it's clear. It's very clear. So people just say, okay, man, since you're very smart, you're a lawyer, top notch lawyer, we'll just wait until you do something, which you obviously will do. You know, so we're just waiting. I mean, yes, that can be tabled in parliament and all that stuff, but now he doesn't have any immunity protecting.
Yeah, right. Well, let's bring in a new entrant, Gilbert C. Welcome to Bantu TV podcast, and we are discussing Mr. Lungu's dare on HH to lift his immunity. Your thoughts on that, sir? And
Uh,
and please just tell us where you're joining us from. We'd like to know.
it's Dallas, Texas. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
We're doing just fantastic. Welcome and thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah, basically I just joined in to listen, but my thoughts on Lungu. Why are they even taking long? That guy should be caged. He he has enjoyed the freedom for so long. Remember prior to the elections when he was saying, Akamona, when I get back in when we win the elections, that guy is
Mm,
going into jail. If
mm,
you could
mm,
actually analyze, the way he was talking, he had this anger in him, that
mm,
he just was ready to put HH away forever, you know, because HH is a Christian. He has that forgiving heart. That's why he has tolerated all this nonsense. Otherwise, that guy should have been in gallows by now, you know. But anyway, we'll wait and see. Maybe, you know, HH is being methodical, but he's being too methodical, you know. So we'll wait and see what happens.
Right. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. And it's
That's my
You know,
thought.
I think what my gift is saying is this. Look, HH is being methodical, but look, HH is Lungu is not his priority at this point in time. Lungu is not HH priority. His priority is to put back, or make sure that the economy of Zambia is back in track. Okay, that's why I'm seeing him traveling instead of going for inauguration there. He went to the UK. He wants to bring in investors. And what we're going to see in the next coming 5 years, already we're seeing all these investors coming in right now because of all these things he's doing. So Lungu is more like, anyway, you have somebody that, that can entertain you. It's an entertainment, to be honest, like really. I think to me, if any Zambian, even a little kid, when they have to, they put one-on-one Lungu na HH, and then you ask a kid, can you choose who you want to be your leader? Even a small little kid will point at HH. Okay, for various reasons. So Lungu is not a factor at this point. It's not going to be a factor.
But say that again.
He's not a factor. It's not a factor. Okay? So it's not a factor. Is not HH or the APND government priority on the list of things that they need to do. The main aim or the main game is to bring back the economy back on track. Chapwa. If you're going to say about long way, immunity or whatever, like, look, we're just looking at it like I'm saying, like, it's like a kid playing, like, all right, okay, let him just play. Okay? You know what I mean? When you got your father in the house and, kids come in, look, I'm busy. You go play outside, So HH is busy. HH is very, very busy right now. And the busy that what he's doing is, us as Zambians, we're seeing it. Even kids are seeing it. They're going to school for free right now. That's what I'm saying. Like, look, what is he going to tell us? Is he going to say no more free education? No more bursaries? No more food allowances? Like, what is he going to tell us?
Madam Moderator.
Go ahead, Mr. Go ahead, Deep Thinker. Go ahead.
I think I joined in. I don't know the gentleman who was speaking when I joined in.
Mr. Mbulo.
Mbulo, he touched on something that is kind of bothersome because I think Lungu is playing the politics of the stomach. He's trying to convince people not to look 5-10 years from now. Look at now. Because I heard him say, free education, how do you go free education hungry? If you're hungry, you want to go to school. I heard him say something like that. So he's playing the very cheap politics. And I think I've said this before. We need a media team that is going to counter whatever Lungu is saying, however useless it is. We need a media team to be very aggressive on that because there are people that are desperate at this point in time. Even if they see development, they are not seeing the development in their house. in Johannesburg, we used to tease our friends from DRC. We used to say the DRC guys, they dress so well, and yet in their house they're not taking care of their kids. Okay, so these guys, it's some of the people in Zambia. They're not waiting for trickle down economics 10 years from now, 5, 10 years from now. They want now, and that's the group that is vulnerable. That's the group that Lungu is preying on. Pray with an E, not with an A, because I don't believe he prays to the same God that I pray to. That's just my opinion. I'm not asking for anybody's uh, uh, support on that one. So let's be very careful and counter so that we don't lose that grassroots person who is beginning to doubt to say, they're saying Minimum is going to be 100 kwacha 2, 3 years from now. Right now, I can't afford this amount. And Lungu's statements are will end up becoming music to their ears. I yield.
Right, yeah. I mean, how you bring a very valid point. This is why, for me, I mean, I feel like we are it's a double sword kind of environment, because of course we're grappling the idea of the economy and the best ways and measures that we need to take to fix it. And we have this serious guy who've come in. And then we're also, just yesterday, when I look over my rear mirror, I mean, we're coming from a background where people were lining up the streets to get free money from these politicians. Even if it was 20 kwacha, that was free money they were getting.
Yep.
And if you turn your phone on and in South HH, the loudest, then you get millions. And so these people, they are not willing to go away. They're not willing to go away, and they don't want to be reminded that we are where we are because of the policies that PF took in the last 7 years or 10 years. They have been at the helm of power. Let's just be honest with ourselves, and that's where we are. And like somebody said, for me, I mean, most people would think about their stomach before thinking about what comes in the next 5, 10 years trajectory. So that's an issue that I think the new Dawn government need to juggle, and they need to juggle well. All right, and let's see if somebody has anything else
Definitely.
to
Yep. I can
add.
tap on add on just on what you said, Rakalinda.
Mhm.
Just on what you're saying. I was actually disappointed. I was watching a news clip, and they were interviewing people in the markets, and one of these guys, is like, look, if a time you have PF, in Dalama cash, okay, that's what the government should be doing. If you have CDF and everything, we don't understand it. We don't know where to go. We don't know how to apply. We don't know everything. So ikingamwatuletera fe ndalama filyamuwaitufulesha kale. Nikintu kiri win. So now you see how backwards the patriotic front made our people, made our people. I mean, they are so backwards thinking at the point that to them, chikulunga mwamfulesha fe ndalama, then that's empowerment. If they tell you go and create a cooperative so that they give you contracts to Quimba, if man and can if drainage in my neighborhoods, because obviously there are constructions works happening, and the need to subcontract. There's the main contractor, and the main contractor needs to subcontract. So can you organize yourself 10, 20 people? Mule imbe if man and can if drainage. They don't want that. They say, oh, that we don't understand it. You see? So that's what I was thinking to myself. I was like, wow, can you imagine if we had continued with this man? Even now, he wants to come back. So that's the thing he wants to bring back, so that people are just blindfolded. Kufe bafitafe para market. Ndama shafu makuli balungu ifi. Aneni. People, hey. But what about tomorrow? What about tomorrow? What's going to happen? Your kids will be still hungry. Why not get an empowerment that's going to last you for the rest of your life? You see? So, just to add on what you were saying, as like, look, this is the right way, I think. Not I think, but I know is the right way, whereby you come, create a cooperative market, get some empowerment, empower your family, and start earning money for a long run. Other than bakupera fenda amalelo. You know, but what happened mushana mwashani na fenda rama. Then sharp, then what next? What next?
Right. Yeah, I mean, maybe before we leave, because we have a number of topics to talk about today. Maybe, Mr. Mbula, you've been too quiet for a minute there. Do you want to add on before we go to the next topic?
No, I think we have addressed everything. Essentially, as everybody has said, the challenge is, of course, HH is focusing on more like high level, addressing some of the issues from Lungu's time, all the dates and cleaning up everything, the free money which was flowing. And when you pull out that money, there isn't much money in circulation. And of course, there's current issues we are addressing, the power outage and the rising maize price. And for the ordinary people, that's what they are looking at. So I think if most of you know Professor Sasa, I think he also said that at least next year, the HH government should consider taking on some of those policies that will have direct impact, something that people can see to be able to continue to support HH. Of course, it's important to address all those economic issues, but they need to address some of those. And I think the other issue of media as well. If the UPND, the ruling party, can consider addressing, countering some of those low-level issues which Lungu and his cadres are bringing up. So you don't just leave them out there, but you can be able to address them. Use the social media, whatever media is available, so that you don't just leave it. You need to be able to counter that as well. That's all. Thank you very much.
Oh, great. You summarized the topics really well. All right, now let's move on to the next topic. And how about we talk about, to me, the 72 billion agro investment by the Vietnamese, which is sending some very serious concerns among the Zambian community, whether here or in Zambia. Why would the Zambian government give these Vietnamese? I mean, yes, they're bringing in $72 billion. Was that $1 million? Yeah, and then we give them 1,000 hectares of land, which land in Zambia, that's the 99 year lease. I mean, I just don't. I mean, I'm still in disbelief by that gesture. I mean, yes, we need investment, but why are we allowing foreigners this land for 99 years with an option to renew, even if they are giving us trillion dollars in investment? Why can't we invest on ourselves? I can see Mr.
I think that's not really the case, because
What's
that's
the case?
story. The story that the propagandas from the Patriotic Front are bringing out is what you've just said. Um, but the real details behind that deal are yet to be announced, actually, I think this week. But what I can say is this: an investment of that magnitude needs land. And if Zambia has been identified as a potential place where we can grow, what they want to do is they want to grow their rice, and rice is the main staple food there. whole lot of Asia. That's what they eat. This is good for us. We've had all these swamps. We've got so many swamps starting from the Western province, eh, Northern province, which have been underutilized for years and years. We need this kind of investment to teach our people how to grow rice. Okay? So instead of us just depending if maize and mataba piazala, me I've been in Wapo and I've lived in Wapula. There's so many swampy areas. There's nothing growing there. There's really nothing there. Apart from when they grow to say they go there but there's so much area that can be utilized for this thing, which is good. And once that happens, we start gaining that much needed revenue and that much needed dollar, so that we strengthen the quarter. But Ilya Sharia land, I don't think they've given them to say because what the current government was saying is, look, we need to be going into joint ventures. If you read the HH's statements and his thinking, he's saying these need to be JV. So if Zambia can come in and say this is the land, they come in to say we're going to put $72 billion and invest in this land. Okay, it's our land. We're not giving them. It's still owned by the Zambian people. It's still owned by the Zambian people. We're not saying we're going. Here's the land. It's yours. No. Okay. So, but the terms to say 100 years, today I'm not really sure because I just heard it from the publications coming from.
That's right. So that's the land policy. For Zambia, when you get a piece of land, title, it's 99 years. Whether you are a Zambian or an investor, for me, I have issues with that simply because only a few months back, remember when we had those rumblings about the Kenyans coming to grow maize in Zambia and they were going to get
Mhm.
land, and guess what kind of tongues came out against them.
Mm.
So if we came out like that against the Kenyans, I don't care what deal the Vietnamese are bringing. The same, they also should get the same treatment. That's the way I look at it. Because even if you take $72 billion to Vietnam, they won't give you a 99-year lease to their land. They would rather you lease or rent that land. It's as simple as that. Mr. Buller, you want to come into this debate because I see you building.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think the land issue is very sensitive. I love the way our laws colleagues actually handle the land issue. You can go anywhere in the world, nobody will give you land unless you're a citizen. I don't know why in Zambia we just give land to everybody. And agriculture, if you really look at it, development, economic development, agriculture is the basic, that's the starting point. And that's what Zambians are doing. We don't need foreigners to do that for us. I think the sort of investment we should be bringing, we should be starting, Kaunda started this a bit. We need to start the industrialization, a little bit of industrialization. What's the point of growing rice and then just export it? Growing maize and export it? No, we should invite investors who say we'll set up a textile mill, who say I'll set up a processing plant. So Zambians should be given the opportunity to grow, and then there are a lot of farmers we have in Zambia, but they need to be empowered. We need to educate them more. We need to have more people educated in agriculture. I think our agriculture needs to be more commercialized. So we need to support our own farmers. So what we need is the industrial base that can be able to be processing. Even the maize, what we do with maize is only meal. We can be making more products from maize that can be exported, that can raise more export. So I don't think we are at a level where we need to bring somebody else to invest into agriculture. Agriculture, we can support our own local communities. HH is trying to do that, but I think with cooperatives, we need to educate them more financially, economically. So farming should be a commercial, so we should be able to support our own existing farmers. Otherwise, they'll be competing. Otherwise, Zambians will be just workers at this Kenyan or Vietnamese farm. That's not what we want. We want to empower Zambians to be able to be the owners. Even if you say, no, we'll have Zambians who will be shareholders in all this. How many Zambians have the resources, the capacity to be able to do that? What we need is to empower on small-scale farmers and to get more young people into the farming. Then the other thing is, yes, we have all these swamps which are idle. It's not just that they're idle. We have to think environmentally. That's environmental sustainability of Zambia. See what's the drought happening, talk of the climate change. We dig up all our swamps. It dries up our whole system, water system. The swamp helps to hold the water. The water table vanish if we dig up, we use up all this. So we have to be very sustainable. We have to look carefully. Why aren't they taking that investment and, grow rice in their own country? They want to use Zambia. So we have to think also of the next generation, the next future generation. Of course, we have a lot of plants and vegetation and forests in Zambia, but that sustains our environment as well. So we have to think sustainably. So I think in terms of investment, let's move into industrialization. We can be stuck in agriculture, just agriculture producing. See what happened after Chiluba came to power. We closed the pineapple plant in Mwinilunga, Northwestern Province, because Coca-Cola came back and shut down all the tip tops. All those fruits we used to be able to grow and sell, we shut them down. So we need to be able to develop our industry that will absorb what our farmers are producing and to support our farmers, in any way we can. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think I can disagree with you a little bit there. Because
Sure.
look, the thing is this: agriculture. We've never tapped into agriculture. The only thing that Zambia depends on is mining. Okay, so if you look at the countries where we get most of our income or most of the GDP is contributed, it's through the mining sector. Agriculture, if you look at the percentage, is really low. But let us look. That's what I was saying. Look, let's learn from these Asians. At one point, Singapore and China were more poorer than Zambia. Okay, but what happened? China today is one of the richest countries, developed countries in the world, while Zambia was left behind. And what did they do? They entered into agriculture. That's the first. They didn't use mines. They didn't use anything. They only concentrated on agriculture. And with them, they concentrated on rice. Okay? And they, believe me or not, they've got over 1,000 varieties of rice in China. Okay? And everybody's, China rice, China rice. We also produce rice in Zambia, but at a minimum rate. So that's one example. So agriculture is you need agriculture. And agriculture is easily accessible because we don't need heavy investment. We have the land already. We have the good climate already. And if it's rice itself, we need to learn actually how they sustain the economies just on rice. One thing, just one thing, rice.
Yeah, but they didn't have to get billions of investment into their farming, right? Why don't
No.
we invest in our own farmers?
Yes, but it started slowly. Why? Okay, let me ask you one thing. Why hasn't Zambia been exporting rice all these years? But we know we grow rice in Zambia, but we don't have that say to say, oh, this is how much we exported last year. This is how much we grew. This is how much our local people. because we don't have that. There's certain techniques that we need to learn from the Asians.
Yeah,
And
but
me,
the
I
other
believe,
thing is our environment is also not very conducive for rice. There are some areas in Zambia, of course, you can grow rice, but not
that's
every
what I'm saying.
every
You know,
region.
there are certain
And
areas.
then to grow rice, you need irrigation. So we need to be able to empower the farmers. I mean, in Southern Province, if you go there, like this time, it's very dry, so it's
Mm,
not
mm,
conducive for growing
mm,
rice. There are some regions, maybe like
yeah.
Lundazi, Western
Well,
Province.
the regions they're
So,
targeting, obviously, like I was saying, look, if you look at the Luapula province, you look at the Western province. If you hear right now people talk about Mongo rice, talk about Kasama rice, the areas that's where the rice is coming from, and there are certain areas which are very dormant where we can actually tap in, okay, and get these investors going and invest. Now, when
yeah,
it comes to
my concern is depending so much on all these investors. Is there a way we can empower our Zambian farmers?
it's
There
another
are a
way
lot
of
of
it.
young people in
Yeah.
Zambia in urban
Mm,
areas. How can we incentivize them to go into rural
mm,
areas, into farming?
yeah.
So that rather than bringing in foreigners, because
No,
Zambians will
but
just
look,
be workers, will
no,
just
no,
be
no. We need
workers.
the expertise. Like, look, that's what I'm saying. Like, look, we need them one so that they can teach our local farmers. They're not going to be here. Zambia will be here forever. Okay, Zambian people will be
99
here forever.
years.
Them, they'll never be here forever.
They'll be here
And
99 years.
no, no. I mean, I can tell you one thing. When it comes to those policies, I think the current government is very careful when it comes to those kind of deals. They, they're not gonna give somebody just like that. So, but here's the
Okay,
thing.
why don't
What?
we do this?
Mm,
We empower Zambians to do it. We don't give these guys land. They can invest into banks that will work with local Zambians. They don't necessarily have to
okay, how
own the
many
land.
banks in Zambia are going to give our local people 72 billion US dollars? How many?
No,
Because these
those
are
those
these are
investors can
villagers.
come and work with Zambian banks. What we don't want is to give them land.
No, I mean the issue is not about land. The issue is about the investment itself. That's where the issue is. We need that investment so that people can learn how to grow rice. How China became one of the largest economies of the world just because of rice. We need to learn. We don't have that expertise. If we knew that already, we would have been doing it, but we don't. So let's just be honest with ourselves. Okay, we need that transfer of youth information, that transfer of technology, and this is how it comes by. So this is one good thing we can learn from and say, okay, fine, come in, bring in, and local people will be employed, of course. We're not saying that there will be Chinese workers there. No, the local people will be employed. Once those local
But we
people are
don't want
employed,
to
they
be
start.
creating workers. We want to
The
be
issue,
creating.
let me, I'm just letting the two of you go. The issue is, let's allow. I'm pretty sure the deep thinker has has something to say on this. Deep thinker, you've been too quiet.
It's a really catch-22 situation right here. I personally don't like giving away land. That land belongs to our children, grandchildren, and so on. So I'll give you an example with Ghana. What what Ghana did was Italians wanted to go and invest in Ghana and put a lot of money there, but they were demanding for land to grow tomatoes. The government put a brake to it. So what the Italian government did, they opened the immigration system, whatever you want to call it. They opened it up for farmers in Ghana to go to Italy to learn how to grow tomatoes in a productive way, other than just sell at the market and all that. Those farmers went to Italy and they never came back. So Ghana lost one, tomato farmers, and two, they lost the tomatoes products because now they had to import from Italy tomatoes grown by farmers from Ghana. So I'm giving you an example here where we can send people to Vietnam to learn how to grow rice, but that's counterproductive. We want their money. We want them to come and invest in Zambia, but it's their money. If they say the trade-off is you give us land, then what do you do at that point? I can understand what the government is trying to do. They're trying to find alternative foods so that we don't find ourselves in situations that we're in right now. But at the local level, we also need to think about to come up with a plan of de-urbanizing our cities. Young people, I can tell you, Livingston, Monze, and Lusaka, the ones I know, they don't want to go back to the land. They don't want to go there. It's too good in the cities. They would rather uh, work for a Chinese or somebody from Vietnam who has invested money on the land around the city, not in the rural areas. Another thing we need to think about as a people, we need to evaluate how productive have we been with our own land. And what is the potential for productivity in our own land and with our own people? Because if our productivity is below 20% with the most, because Zambia and Central Africa there, I was reading an article that said that's one of the richest agriculture land in the world. But if we only being 20% productive on our productive land, then I don't have a problem giving somebody who's going to be productive and we don't go hungry. So this is a catch-22 for me. I can just
Yeah,
try
I
to
want to
get
counter your Ghanan example. Bangladesh now is becoming very competitive in textile industry. The South Koreans wanted to set up their textile industry in Bangladesh, and so they took Banglas to South Korea and trained them to run textile, to manage, with improvement in technology now, actually, we don't need like a Kafue textile type of industry. It's so big, and Zambians just tend that. But now there are more. You can have a small, textile industry and can be able to produce quality materials. So this Bangladesh team went to South Korea, were trained, and then sent back to Bangladesh. When they wanted to recruit them to set up their own, they found these guys that set up their own textile in Bangladesh. And Bangladesh is now one of the thriving textile industries. So in Ghana, I think it's the maybe that's the challenge with us Africans. You go for the Olympics in the US and you want to stay in the US. So it's the same. It's a challenge for Ghana. So I mean, we can also look at that and as our deep thinker indicated, how do we empower young people? How do we make rural areas attractive? Electrification has been going on in Zambia. Now you can dig boreholes. There are also small scale irrigation machinery available. So how do we empower people? How do we develop an agriculture policy? How do we finance our agriculture, our farming in rural areas? Because what we see mostly, like I have families who live in the village, what they depend on is rain fed. Like now this year, they don't have maize because it's all rain fed. So how do we invest? How do we empower our local people to be able to grow, to scale up? So they grow maize, 1 acre of land, can they grow 2 acres of land? And also our marketing system. You know, I can't even with 2 bags of maize, I take it to Malawi to sell it at a double price. I'll be arrested and locked up for what's that, smuggling. You know, how do we empower? How do we make sure that the farmers get the value of what they produce? So we can be able to create that incentive, that encouragement for people in rural areas, or for young people to go to rural areas. Look also at the universities we've had. There are a lot of universities now in Zambia. Even UNZA graduate a lot of people. You know, it takes 1 week to just have a graduation ceremony. What areas are we training our young people? So Monze College of Agriculture is not expanding. NRDC is not expanding. Those are some of the colleges we should be expanding. You know, we used to have agriculture extension officers in almost every constituency, every region. Now the agriculture extension officers are almost like dead. So why don't we empower those? Because those are the ones who can transfer the knowledge, you know, the technology, you know, even how to grow rice. How do we move away from just depending on maize? So I think we should be able to look inward and see how we can empower our own rural communities, our own farmers, to be able to scale them up. Thanks.
Right, right. Well, thank you so much for those insights into this topic. But before somebody else jumps in here, let me bring in a new entrant on this podcast this afternoon, Danny Lisa. Please welcome to Bantu TV, and just let us know where you are joining us from. And we are discussing the Vietnamese investment into our agriculture sector, which has raised a lot of eyebrows and welcoming hands. Please, your comment on that, Danny Lisa.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The past 1 week I've been traveling around. I haven't followed the Zambian news. So today, the only thing I came to know was yesterday. Was it Saturday when I came back? The Lungu's Larry. I listened to it in Kitwe, and that was the only thing that I haven't yet caught up with the news back home.
Oh yeah, we can go. I mean, if you don't want to talk about that, we can actually go back to the Lungu, because that's my favorite topic on this podcast every Sunday. You want to talk about Lungu's bold statement yesterday at the Larry, or the other one where he's challenging the HH government to lift his immunity because the claims he hasn't stolen any money. Anyway, just take it away. Take it.
Yeah, that's the only news that I'm still catching up. I did a bit of traveling around, but now, yes, I was shocked to hear Uka people congregate there, and all they were doing basically was just to talk about nothing other than just saying, "Oh, HH he should have listened to us, should have listened to us." But you guys, you're the people who messed up everything. You failed to do what HH has done. You failed to reschedule our date and all that type of thing. And now you're saying he should have listened to you. So it didn't make any sense to me. The whole of that Larry was just sort of a kada type of mentality where people are chanting for nothing. The attendants were not people that are looking for solutions to the issues we have, but just basically just cadarism, so to speak. There was no sense. If I want to go to a meeting myself, I want to go and hear issues, but there was nothing that Kuka were talking about yesterday, other than just saying, "Oh, we'll come back. They should have listened to us. They should have," but they have no solutions. It was useless. It was a useless gathering, and any sensible Zambian shouldn't even have taken them seriously, to be honest.
No, they need to continue these rallies, because for me, I want to be looking at seeing Lungu drunk at those rallies on every day if they have to do it. And let me just, on my personal, from a personal point of view, just recommend, say thank you, Zambia Police, for allowing that rally to take place yesterday. And please continue allowing these rallies, because Zambians need to see the shenanigans. They need to be reminded where they're coming from when they look at a drunk Lungu speaking at those rallies about nothing. So let that spirit of continuing with those. And I really, like I said last time, I don't blame the Zambian police. From in the past, refusing permits, because one, you can't go and ask for a permit from Zambia police as UQA, because there is no UQA on paper. So on what basis does the Zambia police give you a permit? And not only that, before you ask for permits, you are holding press conferences where you are inciting Zambians to rise up, rap against the government, which even here in America they won't even give them. You get jailed, you know. So yesterday, yeah, it was the first. UQA did the right thing. They applied for a permit through Harry Calaba's party, because it's a registered party, and we haven't heard of any, inflammatory statements in the last week, saying they're going to cause havoc. So let them continue. The next time, let DP go and apply for a permit to go and hold a rally in Matero or Mandevu. They'll be granted, as long as they follow the law. So Zambia police, kudos to you, and continue giving these people the permit so that they expose themselves. Because, like somebody said, at that rally, people wanted to hear what solutions they had, as opposed to what the UPND government is doing, and they gave us nothing, absolutely zilch. Now I'm hot.
Well,
Don't start giving me, okay. Anyway. Take it away,
no,
myself. Never emotional, but me. I just,
yeah,
because when I see them, yeah, no, because when I see them, here's what I look at them. I'm thinking the death of Saman Sama. I'm thinking Mapenzi Chibolo's son growing up without a mother. The parents of that user student, promising young lady who lost her life at Unza because of Valungu and his band of vagabonds. Anyway, please continue. And
no. Before I forget, actually, I just a rider on what the other gentleman was talking about. I mean, on how we can have empower these colleges and universities and stuff like that. And it got me thinking. I was like, look, 10 years ago when I was in college, the college that I was at here is it lives in an area where, because here where we are in the Niagara region, it's a wine area. So most people got grapes and everything. So the college is built right there in the escarpment. And to them, they've become self-sufficient in the terms that they're able to run all the college's operations without looking for money from the government. Because one, they have their own winery and they're teaching students how to make wine and sell wine. It's on the market. You go to any store, you find a wine that's built from that college. Now they've even gone into liquor and all these other things and fruits. So these are the things that we need to look at if we talk about NRDC. For years and years, they've been learning how to do agriculture. But are they a self-sustaining a college or university? Why haven't we seen any product coming from NRDC? Okay, so that's that was my thinking. I was like, wow, if we can have these things, even at the University of Zambia, every year we're creating engineers. Every year we're creating, people with the mining skills. There's all these departments, but have we ever seen anything coming from there to say, oh, this project was banned by the University of Zambia and they were paid money for it, so that they don't depend on the government. They can usually use their skills that have been learning for years. If we got engineers, we got all these people. What are they learning and what are they using that knowledge? Is it just to learn? Like I think in Zambia it's more like just theory. We just learn, read books, read books, read books. There's no proper, practical things that we can say to point out to say what we learned. This is how we have applied it. Okay, we need to change that culture. I think we need to change. That's the thing we need to inculcate in the next coming generation to say no. Go there, you learn, and when you learn, the government actually should be coming to you for solutions to say, we have a problem here. How can you help us resolve this problem? Then the students will sit down and say, no, 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 no. This is what we can do, and we can do it as a student because we have an engineering department. We can do it ourselves. So that's the thing that came to my mind. I was like, why don't we do this? I mean, everywhere else in the world they do it. Why not Zambia?
Yeah, just to come in on that, I think there are a couple of things. Of course, the government can help by giving the university colleges some of the projects, research projects, to take on them. And then the other thing, I think we need industry connection with the university. There's no that connection. UNZA teachers has electrical engineer. How are they connected with ZESCO? So we don't have that connection between our universities and colleges and our industry. So there's no that connection. So I think our colleges, universities, even the ones that are coming up, and that I think even the Ministry of Education should have a policy where when they approve some of these universities, they should be producing graduates that are going to existing industries in Zambia, or producing graduates that will be contributing to addressing some of the challenges we have in Zambia. So I think it's a connection between what we are learning or what we teach in our colleges and also what industries we have. And of course, we talked about industrialization. I think we need to go back to even just some of those Kaunda policies. I think might help, because Kaunda even had all those trade school where people are learning how to be carpentry, how to be a bricklayer. Now a lot of constructions are going on in Zambia. How do we train people who can be able to go into that construction industry? Construction industry is developing in Zambia as well. So I think it's really how do we make that connection between our education system and also our industries, and of course government policies. I think need to support that, because you see some of the consultation we give them to foreigners. Is there an opportunity to say, okay, you have to partner up with NRDC or University of Zambia or even one college or some other colleges to work on these research projects? Some of them, the externally funded non-governmental organizations, they have to have that connection with our colleges, our institutions, so that, we are producing people who are relevant to what's happening in our industry. Thank you.
Right. I mean, this is all valid points there, gentlemen, and this is a discussion that.
Can I come in on that one, please?
Yes, please come in.
What my brother has just been talking about, that was my trip the whole of last week, doing what exactly? Linking my institution with the industry. That's why I was out. So I was meeting business partners out there, telling them what our college is able to do, and establishing those partnerships. It's very important that first of all, the government should put deliberate policies to say any company that's going to use these universities and colleges for research and development of their products will get such an incentive, certain incentives. Research and development for the products is very, very expensive. That's what I heard in the past 1 week when I went to these industries. And for them to use institutions like colleges and university to develop their products or to improve on their products, it saves them actually millions of dollars. All right. So it has to be a three-way partnership: the government, industry, and the universities and colleges. But the government plays a big role in giving tax rebates or tax incentives to these universities and these companies that use learning institutions for their research and development or improving on their products. It's very, 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 very good thing. But as my brother has just said, for example, if we want to improve on the taste of the wine at Niagara College, um, there's no need for us to get a consultant who is going to start brewing small little thing of wine here and there and tell us, oh, the wine has improved. We can use the college. It's to be like projects for the students, like final year students. They do the next group of final year students are going to get it as a project, and it doesn't cost the company a lot of money to use institutions. And when we presented our proposal, for example, to some of these companies in Vancouver, they were very shocked that such a thing is possible, because most of these are Chinese companies and Japanese companies here in Canada, and they were surprised that they can allow them to use institutions for their research and development. And I think the government should play a very important role in telling these companies that, come on, we have so much resource. These students are smart. We can give them as projects to their final year projects, and every year those projects will be worked on. And by the end of 5 years, you can have a very nice product on the market using students. And for them, they'll not even realize that they're developing a product for the country, but they'll look at it just as a project for their marks, but they'll be doing justice to the country. So yeah, it's very important. I think the government is not doing a good job marketing that type of partnership in Zambia. For example, ZESCO should have been at University of Zambia by now. It employs a lot of those engineers. They should be doing a bit of research of their transmission costs and whatever. I'm told transmission of power is very expensive in Zambia because of the materials we're using. So they should use University of Zambia for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely amazing sentiments there.
Yeah, that's good. Are you in Canada? Because you mentioned Niagara College. I was like, oh, how did you know that that's the school I was talking about?
I think he mentioned Canada, so we are going to say he's in Canada. All right, so let's move on. So now we go back to so this week we had
Madam Moderate.
Deep Think.
I,
Come through
I,
Deep Think.
I am a product of the University of Zambia. Proud product of the University of Zambia. The things that we're talking about, I saw them there happening. They were happening at the University of Zambia when I was there many years ago. I can give you a perfect example of a friend of mine who was in the School of Agriculture, worked for NRDC, it didn't work out, worked for the Ministry of Agriculture, it didn't work out. He used that knowledge to start his own milk processing company. I'm saying that to say it's very important that we take into consideration what the speakers said. There needs to be a collaboration between government, industry, and universities or colleges. Let me put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem. When those students finish, they're not taken care of in these industries. Their knowledge base is not tapped to the maximum.
Mm-hmm.
We need a different work culture there that requires more from people that we think that know. Expect more from the people that know whatever they know. And then take care of those people. You cannot produce a high-notch engineer from the University of Zambia and go to an industry, Nakambala Sugar Estate, and find low-notch equipment over there and expect them to expand, and they don't have, they don't even, they're not even anywhere around where finances are being discussed to buy high efficient equipment. So this is a much bigger problem, but in our Zambian industries. But first of all, we need to talk about what the expectations and evaluation of those workers are in Zambian industries. That's why we lose most of them. We lost a lot of highly qualified, highly skilled people in the 90s and the 2000s to go to Botswana, South Africa, where within 1 year, most of those people that were low-level people in Zambian industries, they went into directorate and management positions and advisors to the CEOs to make decisions for the company. University of Zambia and these colleges, they're doing the best they can, given the equipment that they have and the support they're getting from industry. Industries needs to pump in a lot of money. I work in a school right here, Boeing, this company that makes planes. Whenever they buy new computers, they donate those computers to public schools. Those industries in Zambia, they need to do the same. When they change some things, if they ever do change, they need to give those to the colleges so that colleges can have simulations in the school before they get socialized or they start interacting with the industrial equipment. It's very expensive and inefficient for a bus to come to the School of Engineering, put those 12 fourth-year students, take them somewhere to where they can practice their skills and bring them back. No, we need those things in the School of Engineering, in School of Mines, everywhere. And those schools should be sponsored, partly be sponsored by the industries. And my brother there said it right. Those companies then get rebates from the government. I yield.
Oh my goodness. I felt like I was at a public rally. That's just me.
I'm sorry.
Well put, Deep Thinker. Gentlemen, I think this topic it's one that we can discuss for on and on and on without an end. So we need to move on to the next topics that we have at hand. And, we only have so many hours in a day to talk about what we need to talk about every Sunday. So how about we now focus our attention on former Foreign Affairs Minister Harry Calaba's FUPA, where he went on a 10-paragraph rant on his Facebook page this week, condemning the presidential visit to the UK without really having his facts, fact checked, so to speak. And I don't even know what to say, because I just thought like this was a foreign affairs minister who was involved in so many of our foreign policy, and Mr. Lungu, to come out so half-baked. And then, of course, we saw the president in the UK at a meeting with the king. Oh, I'm sorry. I just find it very hard to say King Charles. I'm still getting used to that. Anyway, King Charles, he had a meeting with King Charles, and of course the other meetings that he had with some investors out of Scotland and England, and of course it also ended up with that honorary degree that he got from was that Oxford? Bachelor of yeah. Was that Oxford
No,
University
it's
or a college
It's
somewhere?
a subsidiary
no,
of
it's a
Oxford.
university. It's a Herit what
Yes,
University?
yes.
Herit what University?
Which ties to what you guys were talking earlier. It offered six scholarships to Zambian students to go and study masters in business and some other, I think economics or whatever. I was too busy this week, so my information gathering was a little limited. So my apologies. But anyway, let's discuss Bahari Kalaba's full path. I know, yeah, I mean, he's now in Okwa. I mean, he has to just go out full throttle and condemn everything the government is trying to do. Come on now, Bachelor.
With
What's
me, I
up
don't think
with Mr. Harika?
I don't think I'll spend much time on Lakalava because he's a person that cannot be trusted. One, because one, he's a person that said he resigned because he knew that the PF government was corrupt and Lungu was very corrupt. So he could not stand being among the corrupt people. So why is Lungu no longer corrupt anymore? Why is in the midst of all these Ukwa corrupt people, which is the PF, really, to be honest. So I don't trust people like that. So one day he says this, tomorrow he says that, and I'm like, okay, fine. People were starting to believe you, but trust me now, people are no longer believing in you because you actually told us that you don't have anything, you don't have deliverables. I mean, you don't have anything to say apart from bowing your head and worship Valungu. So I really, that's it. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna waste my time on that. So, yeah, yeah.
All right, we move on to Mr. Danny. All right, we move
I,
on to. Go
I,
ahead.
yeah, just like my brother said, I think some of those people or some of that rant they do give us, we should just be forgetting them because no need to spend time and energy discussing such utterances. You know, he's just a bitter politician that wants to come back and steal some more or something like that. There's nothing to offer the Zambian people. Yeah.
Right. Mr. Rambulo, please come on board and try to unravel Mr. Calaba's sentiments against the presidential trip to the UK.
Yeah, I think just like everybody said, these are, it's like sick as some kind of entertainment. But like somebody said, some of these things, it's like you just did it. It's like when you get all these emails, you just did it and move on. There's no need to bother so much about this. I mean, it doesn't really progress or help the country move forward in any way. He was in a very high, respectable position. If you're the Minister of Foreign Affairs for a country, I think you should try to uphold that even after you've left government. Because the government can still consult you. You have a wealth of knowledge by having been in that position. I think we can say the same even like for Lungu. That's why it's not really good to come back into politics. Otherwise, it should be going on international stage now, working on peace. Working on. You see a lot of former president working as observers in elections. That's what you should be. You become like a statesman, so we should have a cadre of statesmen. We don't have like in the UK, what do they have? The lords. Those are like people who are in power now. They are up. So there are people who can be consulted. Even HH can go and consult him. So I think some of these people should recognize, the responsibility that come with having been in those high positions. Even when you move on, you should talk responsibly. When you talk, people should listen and respect what you say. Even if you criticize the church, I mean, it's agreeable. It's a democracy, but you have to criticize in a very constructive way. Thank you.
Right. Such mellow thoughts. We love it. Deep thinker.
The last speaker said those emails you delete them with the caliber. For me, I blocked him.
You blocked Harry Carroll. On
I
what
blocked
basis?
him.
On what basis? Be serious.
It really doesn't make sense. The only time I could follow him and make sense is when he was a minister. After that, I just could not. He loses me all the time. So it takes too much energy to entertain somebody who keeps losing you. So I just blocked him.
All right, then. And we're going to leave that discussion there. Now we move on to our next topic, which is the recruitments that have been announced in Defense Forces, gentlemen. We have more jobs for our young people. You know, and I know the opposition keeps saying, no, these are those are not our real numbers. It's just a fluke. This government will fail to pay them. Why even employ people that you're not going to pay? Back to Lufia. This is your favorite topic.
Well, the opposition always have something to say, and they always have something to condemn. Even when something is right, even when something is good, they always have to come up with all these stories just to divert people's attention. But look, last 2 weeks ago, they recruited about 18,000 close to female service workers, and just last week, another over 3,000 service workers, men. So these have been deployed. If you look at the number now, they're saying it's the largest number since 1994 that the Zambia army has ever recruited. Since 1994. Now, what has this so-called Ukwa PF, whatever they call themselves, did? What did they do? How many did they recruit? And if you look at the generation they recruited, very young people. Very young, energetic people. Okay? So instead of the kids being on the streets, they're now in the army. That's where we need the energy to be. And they're being trained how to be professionals, how to be skills men, how to, arm, disarm, a gun and everything, martial arts, everything. If you could see the display, I was like, wow, this is what we need. Young guys, they're now ready to defend the country of Zambia. Okay? So now, are they going to be paid? Of course, they're going to be paid. Why wouldn't you employ all those kind of people and not be paid? Of course, they're going to be paid. It's part of the budget. So it's neither here nor there, but the most important thing is people out of the streets, young kids out of the streets, they're now in the army. Let them explore and learn and be disciplined, not be unruly and just wearing fake combats and shouting rungu. No. Stop wasting young people's talent and energy in useless things. Let them go into the army. That's what this current government is saying. So they are now in the army. So now they can go there and display their skills. So that's a good thing. I mean, I've never seen since 1994. This is the largest recruitment. So I don't know what Valungu will tell us. He will say, me, I recruit. How many did he recruit? Oh, 7 years. How many did he recruit? I want to know.
Right, right. Interesting submissions there. Mr. Danny, your comment.
For me, UCA or UCA, whatever they're called, they know that the recruitment of young people in the civil service and the military is a plus. It's a good thing for our president and the country as a whole. They are aware that this is a huge recruitment drive, both as for the country as well as for the UPND party. It is huge. You can imagine everybody that has been recruited is definitely, at most of the families right now I know of, at least one person has been recruited in these recruitment drives. In my family alone, there are two nurses and one Zambia Air Force girl. So most people have been touched by this positively, by this recruitment drive going on. And to be honest, come 2026, they know, UCA knows that all these people's families that we've recruited will be UPND votes. And it worries them that way. They know that, oh my goodness, this is a milestone for the ruling party. Each one of those people have uncles, nieces, and all that type of, they will agree with the policies of the current government. So that's why they're worried. And you hear them talk about, oh no, they're just lying to you after 2026. If they lose, you guys will be retrenched. You will be, you go back to the street and all that type of thing. So it's their worry. Their worry is politics instead of the welfare of these families that have been recruited, that have been given jobs. So they're mixing. I mean, they're trying to play politics when we're really dealing with people's lives here. People's lives have changed because of these recruitment drives. So again, playing politics when it's not necessary, when you're dealing with people's lives, is not good.
Right. Mr. Mbulo.
Yes, good question. Of course, I agree with the previous speakers as well. It's definitely an opportunity to create jobs for some of we have a lot of young people in Zambia. Actually, I think Zambia is like one of those country we can consider as young country, because most of the people I think are under 25 or under 20. So we have a lot of these, and there are not so many opportunities. So this creates a bit of opportunities for these young people. But I'm more of I can say what do they say, pacifist, more peaceful approach. I think much as it is a good thing to create jobs through the military recruitment, I'd prefer instead of balloon increasing our defense budget, to probably invest in some areas that will create jobs for our young people, which are more productive. Because I mean, the defense doesn't create anything. We haven't fought any war since 1964. We tried to do that, supporting Zimbabwe and South Africa and Namibia in the 80s, 70s. And those, but since then we haven't fought any war. So I don't think investing so much in recruiting a lot of young people into the military helps us much. Much as it creates opportunities for them, I think we probably should be thinking of some areas where we can be able to create opportunities for young people. There are a couple of things, like I mentioned, agriculture. We should revisit the cooperatives. How can we make these cooperative more independent, more financially manageable? I think Kaunda tried, but we didn't transition them. We need to transition these cooperatives to be more effective, financially, to be able as a cooperative to borrow money from the bank, or the government can set up can go through, is it Development Zambia Bank, to be able to give low interest loans to these farmers. The other thing is there are a lot of these small scale mines. Now Zambia is giving licenses for people to set up all these small scale mines. So if the government can help set up some of these small scale mines, so they are formal, so they can be able to provide them with capital. Of course, capital to be paid back, so that we can have these small scale miners. We see a lot of them being injured because they don't have tools, they don't have safety gears and all that. So if we can be able to set up to support some of these small scale miners, they can also be a source of employment for young people. So yeah, much as I support the idea of creating these opportunities for young people in the military, but I think some areas probably more could create more productive things for the young people. Agriculture, like we've discussed, the mining. Other than just look at these big mines, we can look at small scale mines as well, and also some countries have what they call state investment funds, more like the state funds, which they can invest in some of these. The idea is to really make sure these are profitable. They can pay back to the government and create more opportunities for these young people. So that's my take on that.
I think it's just up on to the next topic, which is the licenses being given in Mumwa, Central Province.
No, before we do that, I think Deep Thinker hasn't said anything.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I agree with everything that everybody said about employing these young people. And I think if I'm thinking what the government is thinking, because when I was at Nkrumah, we had some people from the military come and take teaching credentials to go and teach while they're enlisted in the army. I don't know how they use them after they graduated, but there was that program which I thought was very good for the military to get involved in other sectors of the Zambian economy. Going to be trained as an accountant, as teachers, is because they can be called upon to do a lot of those things. Number two, the way these Uko guys are going, and I'm not insinuating anything. Remember, HH said, if the police don't do their part, I'm going to call the military. So that's for national security. And I'm surprised that they're even arguing that they're either lying or inflating the numbers. That borders on national security. You shouldn't be talking like that. And I'm going to the next point now. After Mnangagwa said what he said in Russia, and you Ukwa guys are coming to talk about he's lying, he's inflating these numbers. Somebody is threatening something. And prior to that, Putin said, if you're with the West, then you are an enemy, and we're gonna consider you like that. And then Mnangagwa goes and says what he said about Zambia. You would beef up whether it's not true that the country is beefing up on the military, whether it's true or not. I'm for that. Kaunda had the Green Army that had Ian Smith shaking. So that's national security. When you talk about the military wing, the security wing, that's a security issue. It shouldn't be taken lightly. You cannot start talking about he's lying, we don't have all those people. How are you going to pay them? Well, maybe you are living in your own bubble, in your own space, in your own reality where you are not paying people. This one pays. Don't be delusional because in your mind you didn't pay people, so you thinking he's not going to pay them. No, we're not taking all that. So I am happy he's doing that, not only for the security of the country, inside the country and outside the country. We have to secure our own borders. Last time I even talked about we need a nuclear plant because we never know what happens in the future. We have the DRC up north, which has never seen peace since the 1960s. We have now Mnangagwa acting crazy. Yeah, we gotta beef up. Whether we lying about it or not, I'm good with it. I yield.
No, that's very true. You know, we need to beef up. I mean, national security is key. National security is key. Even the way he was talking, if you remember the way he was talking about Tokman, he was talking in a voice to say, Twala Kwatama elections very soon. Those were alarming statements. What do you mean you're going to have an election soon, before 2026? Are you planning something? Are you planning a coup? What are you planning? Okay, we need to ask this question. And the government security wings there is a way in and say, look, we cannot allow this to happen. Okay? And if we need young men who are loyalists to this current government, we need them. Chirufya was saved, was saved by the commandos when that coup attempt was that almost happened, that happened. Okay, because they were loyal to the president. Every president needs an army, a security wing that's loyal to him in case of things like coup and everything. So all those people that are young people that are being recruited, they even know themselves that us, we are loyal to this president. In case of anything, we're ready.
There's something else we're overlooking here. Let me just jump in through the chair.
Go ahead.
The government has also realized that there's a lot of money that could be saved by using our security wings in some of these projects. I know that the CDF construction projects that are going on in our constituencies are being assisted by the defense forces. For example, the building of some of these bridges, I know in my constituency, the military sent a few people that guide the contractors in that area to when building those bridges across our rivers in Zambia. So the building of bridges, the building of classrooms, all all these projects that are going on in they are getting some kind of military support of specialists that are able to build these buildings in terms of good quality and stuff like that. So the military are being used in those areas. The military are also advising our people that have been given contracts to build desks. For example, the prisons have been doing this for many, many years. The prison department, what do they call it? Correction services. They are helping the young people in the constituencies. They are guiding them in the setting up of their cooperatives and the building of these desks. So they're being used there. Milling companies, there is a deliberate move by the government, of course, to establish as many milling companies as possible. Actually, in the future, they're looking at every province having one milling company. And all these milling companies will be run by our defense forces, one way or the other. They have also increased the production of crop capacity and crop production in our country. They have allocated Zambia Air Force, Zambia Air Force, ZNS, and of course the prisons department. They have given them a lot of land. The chiefs, and I know in Northern Province, have been not instructed, but they have been met and they have given a lot of land to these military wings. So we are recruiting our boys and girls to be part of these increasing farming activities that we are envisioning in the next few years. The building of roads in the country, the military are involved. So all in all, our military recruitment that we are seeing now, it's not exclusively for defending our country. There are a lot of projects that they are being used as of today. I know the young people that are being trained, that have been recruited right now, they're going to be sent back to colleges. Some of them are going to be engineers, road construction engineers. Some of them are going to NRDC to learn farming. If you don't have the diploma yet, they'll be splitting them in all sorts of trades to be used in our country. Zambia National Service, I think most of you know already, has registered 15 companies right now as we speak, And these companies are in different areas of the economy. Of course, the mining company one is the one operating right now, and I think there is one that is a construction company and all that. But so all these defense wings now are going to be given accessory roles to play, and for that they need extra manpower.
Right. Where are you, Mr.
100%.
Danny? You should be
100%.
explaining these things to
That is
open-minded people. They don't understand. You know, you've put it in a very plain, simple, short sentences that anybody can understand that. I don't know who
correct.
wouldn't. And so that now leads us to the topic about the artisanal mining license that were awarded in my father's backyard in Nangoma district. We had this past week, Mines Minister Paul Kabuswe handing over those 40 artisanal mining license in Nangoma to mine gold through these corporates, and who in turn sell it to what has now been established at Zambia Gold Limited, which is basically a Zambian company owned by the government 100%. And then in Rufunsa, we had 45 corporates also receiving their artisanal mining licenses, which I think, it took them long enough. For me, I was thinking these are things that would have been happening first year, but I guess the policies that have to be put in place before everything came to pass. So, gentlemen, gold mining in my father's backyard in Nangoma. And then, of course, Rufunsa, gold mining through cooperatives. I know on this podcast, I'm learning quite a lot about we need to invest in our people. So here is investment coming through for our people. Your sentiments. Let's start with you. I know, Bachanda, this is your favorite topic. Um,
Absolutely.
of all time.
All topics are my favorite.
I know you love talking about this. Go ahead, take a crack at it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to be brief, but really, it's good that we're seeing the miners, getting the licenses instead of us. Like he said, when the president came into power, he said, "Look, let's not call miners amateur balls, illegal miners. Let's structure, them and maybe identify them as real miners." And what that can only be done is by giving them licenses so that they start trading properly. And we know we have a stock. We say, okay, we gave out 30 licenses, 40 licenses in this area. These are the miners that the government knows are mining gold, copper, emeralds, and so on and so forth. Okay? And how are we going to empower them? So instead of using just traditional tools that they're using right now, maybe we can invest into their companies or to their cooperatives and help them gain all these mining equipment so that they start doing it at a larger scale. Now we all know that the central province right now there's a big talk there because of gold. We know that gold is in central province, especially the Mungwa area there. We know that there's gold there, and gold itself doesn't really need a lot of machinery. You know, the people themselves have been just using small, simple little equipment just to get that gold out of the earth. But look at the value of that gold. And what was happening was because they didn't have licenses, people would come, foreigners especially, to go at the back door and say, guys, they give them at a very, they would sell their gold at a very cheap price, giveaway price, really. Okay, so even the minister himself was like, looking at the guys that mine the gold, they look very poor. But look at the people that, all these foreigners, they come, they look very rich. Why don't we make our own people rich? Okay? Let them become rich so that they're able to employ more people. And every money that is being accumulated out of this remains in the province or in Zambia. So that's the reason. But because we all knew, we're saying it took time, but there was, we're revising the mining policy, because the mining policy that we had, Bakalinda, believe it or not, was done in the 60s. That's the one that we've been running on for the last, all these 60 years. So all those things that were being revised, and now that it's revised, now we're able to say we can now incorporate miners like them, and we can make sure that the gold remains in Zambia instead of going outside the country. If it needs to go outside the country, we need to account for it. We need to know how many tonnage is going out.
Hello.
Okay, so that's the thing. So those are the things that I was looking at, and I was like, this is a brilliant idea. Everybody, I think, is happy, and everybody should applaud Rakabuswe, mines minister, for doing that. And it should now go into other areas, other sectors, northern province, everywhere, western province, and empower all these miners so that they become licensed.
Right. Brilliant submissions there, Baxlofia. And we have been joined by the man behind what we do here. The one and only Mr. Francis Kombe. Welcome, sir. Okay, he probably just wants to listen in. All right, shall we then go to the man who's been taking us to to church today, Mr. Mbolo. Your thoughts on the mining artisanal license that were issued this past week by the mines minister.
I think he's on mute.
Yeah, I think he's on mute. All right then. Shall we move on to Mr. Danny, the man himself?
Sure. I know a little bit about Nangoma because I sort of grew up near there, in Mumbwa, when my brother was at ZAF, based in ZAF, Mumbwa base. So I did my grade 7 and grade 6 there. So I know a little bit about that. That gold in that area has been there for, I think, more than 30 years. People have been mining gold in Nangoma for more than 30 years, I think. But it has always been it has been illegal, so to speak. Those days they used to call it illegal mining.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, I know a friend of mine in Nzovu Collins, is a member of parliament there.
Yes.
And he updates me about what's going. His challenges have been those mines, the licenses under PF were given to the Chinese investors.
Mm-hmm.
And our government at the moment, since they came back, they've been fighting these Chinese investors, because these Chinese investors had fenced off big chunks of that land from even the local people. The local people used to go and work for them, and they used to go on Monday, and they don't come back until Friday. So they were not allowed to go back to their villages, because they would think that they would take gold there and all that. So they were being locked into the mines, and they never used to go back. And some areas outside those Chinese investors, there used to be small Lusaka businessmen that used to go there, and then they used to have these shafts which were using simple tools like picks and shovels. There used to be a bit of deaths there which were not announced. So it's an activity that has been going on for many, many, many years. But I hope with our minister giving those licenses the other day, I hope they have resolved this issue by the Chinese investors that were given these mines by the PF government. They never used to allow Ngoma residents to pass through those areas. They used to shoot them. If you pass there, you risk being shot dead. That's the truth. So I hope that has been resolved. Otherwise, I think it's going to cause a few problems. And I'll ask my friend to find out exactly what has happened with those Chinese investors that were there for some time. They have been there under PF government. PF knew about it. I think the PF government was a beneficiary of those Chinese miners that were there in Ngoma. So it's a good thing that if they have chased them, that's good for our people, so that our resources are handed back to the people of Zambia and not those Chinese investors. So it's a very good thing. I like it.
Great. Deep thinker.
I agree. It's a good thing that licenses are being given out. I'm just hoping, I don't know much about it. I'm just hoping that the licenses are not given to the privileged people. They make it open so that any common Zambian who wants to invest and has the capacity can do it.
Right. Right.
But sorry, I just wanted to mention something before. The problem with us Zambians as well, I think our Minister of Mines has mentioned this. We get these licenses, and tomorrow we sell them to the Chinese people. We should stop that. We should stop doing that. The Chinese people are going to bring us millions of dollars or this and that. They should sell me the license. Let's stop these temptations. Let's be patriotic and keep the license to ourselves, and the banks should assist people that get these licenses. Otherwise, they'll be tempted to go to the Chinese people again and basically sell those licenses back to them.
Yeah, really. I mean, I think there's no need for them to do that now, since they're not just not getting licensed, they're also being given equipment to mine, to actually do the mining. I mean, what other opportunities do you want? Got a license and the equipment to mine, so you can mine, and then you do have a market where to go and sell your minerals to. I mean, I don't see anything better than this.
Well, Madam Speaker.
Uh-huh.
The speaker actually raises a very good point, because that's misuse of licenses. So, and I'm asking this question to people that might know: is there a way to tie those licenses to the government where they are not transferable unless you go through the government or a commission? I don't know. I'm just asking.
That's a good question. We should ask Minister Kabus and somebody, the Minister of Mine. A good question. It's a valid question. Actually, maybe
I think currently, I don't think there's some regulations like that currently, because they have done, for example, the minister one time said they went on the copper belt and they went to look for the people that were on the licenses, whose names were on those licenses, and they found different people, different foreign names were there now. I mean, they were running those mines instead of the Zambian that was originally given the licenses. So I think there's no checks and balances as to who takes over the actual mining after that license has been given to somebody. So it's a good idea that we can put things in place that will avoid these our countrymen and women from giving those powers to the foreigners. Sometimes what they normally do, they don't even transfer the names. They will just sit back and say, okay, take over. You should be giving me $5,000 a month. To them, $5,000 a month is a lot. They just sit back, and that Chinese man will be mining and selling and just giving them $5,000 a month. But when you go in the books, you find, it's Liswaniso who still owns the mine, but the actual mining is done by somebody else.
Why do you have to mention that name?
No, that is my last name. That's my name.
He's using his last name.
no.
My name is Daniel. Danny
Let's
is for
not,
this one.
let's not go back to last week's.
That's me.
Yeah. Anyway, so you know, I know it's very true. Everything that everybody has said is true, and we need to emphasize the point. Famous Zambians, we need to actually be more patriotic with what we own: land, mines. Yes, God given. Okay, if somebody comes with a bunch of money, let's say, okay, you want to buy my land or you want to buy my mining license, I'm ready to become a partner, not sell it. Okay, let's be partners. Okay, you're bringing in the money, I got the license, so let's discuss. And I think what the government should do, an extra step that they should do, is have a legal counsel to all these new artisanal miners so that they can be able to access that kind of information. Because most people they're a little bit ignorant and they don't know how these things work. And all these foreigners, when they come with a big bunch of money, they're tempted to sell. And they will sell some of them. But let's have that legal background of a backbone for them to go and say, if somebody approaches you with this, you have this legal counsel in your area. You can go there and ask them, and they'll be able to advise you on how to go forward. Okay? So that you structure a deal where it's a JV instead of somebody just buying it from you. Because long term, you, your children, and your children's children are going to benefit. This is what we call generational wealth. That's how abantu kubasungu they become rich. This is how it is. Not if you're a bakupira hero. In Dalama, Washarina Shapa. Next thing we know, you're broke. Okay? And one other point he was saying was like, look, there's free education. Kids are not supposed to be going from mines to mines. Because that's the trend there. Kids are going there, they're using the kids to go and mine because they can pay them just little money. They don't want to see any kid going to mine. A kid should be in school. There's free education. What's the point of him going to mine? So yeah, those are just two things I needed to tap on and
I think
Oh,
I think there's an issue here, Madam Speaker.
go ahead.
I just need clarity. When these licenses are given, it's not ownership. You just have a license to do business there, right?
Yeah, they are normally about 99 years or 50 years.
But it's just to do business. Those licenses can be revoked by the government, right?
If you do something seriously
yes,
wrong, yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Then we just
Like
need.
like putting children to work, they said that your license will be revoked.
So,
That's
like
one
the other
example.
speaker said, we just need some kind of accountability and law to go along with it to say if you abuse this is what happens.
Yeah, the law is already there. The
No,
law is already
but
there.
but remember, law has to go with accountability. So you can have the law, but if there's no accountability, it's a totally different story. People are still doing corruption, and yet there's a law against corruption. Until we become aggressive on corruption, then the law is going to be meaningful.
That's right. Gentlemen, it's been 2 hours and 8 minutes, and my initial plan was just to do an hour today because I just don't have the energy today. But we need to move on. Let's move on to the next topic, and which is my favorite topic of the week.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Besides Edgar Jagolungu, I have another favorite topic this week.
Uh-oh.
J Banda's update. Okay, let's do the J Banda update. Okay. So we saw this week. Last week Mr. Banda fainted. In jail. Banda took him to Minor Soko. for treatment. He was released. Zambia police subsequently rearrested him and, and dumped him in Petauke. I think they took him there for that case of the journalist that he pissed in his mouth. Damn it. So while there, of course, as he was being I'm sorry. It looked like I was watching a kung fu movie, though. But while he was being taken to Chipata prison, Petauke apologized. He fainted again.
Ati walimstadimisi ku maternity wing, something like that. I love. Kwa kutwala omuba mtwala ku maternity wing, sure.
That was Uka propaganda. He wasn't taken to the maternity.
That's what I thought.
But why would they have propaganda like that dog? JJ Banda is a darling of Ukwa, so they shouldn't spread that kind of propaganda.
Yeah.
All right, so he fainted again. Oh my goodness! Shall we just get on? Let's get over with this shenanigans. I mean, what do you call this? But shenanigans.
He has turned hospitals into his hotels.
Yes.
You love to spend time in the hospitals.
Come on, like you do the crime. Just do
You do the time.
Do the time.
It's as simple as that.
Nimadhamwenso avena JJ Banda vamuneka vevira zviri kupompa tushimbe tovemya kanchi nimadhamwenso.
So I'm just confused. So you pee in somebody's mouth and you're still walking the streets of Zambia. Is that how it works?
That's how it was done under PF. Under PF, you can kill somebody in broad daylight as long as you are a darling of the PF. You are going to walk free. Simple as that. And this is what JJ Banda did. He peed in that journalist's mouth. He beat up police, men and women at Force headquarters of Lusaka Central. I can't remember because he has done so many things. I can't remember. And what about all these side chicks he had? All right, now that's just me. So, during that time, you could just do just about anything.
Problem with him when he was committing those crimes, he was telling everybody that there's nothing you can do to me.
Exactly.
And it's on record. He was saying, go anywhere. Go and report anywhere. Nobody can arrest me in this country. So they have that on record. And the police are coming for him now because of what he was saying. You don't commit crime and challenge a policeman that there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Avena JJ Banda, it's a laughable matter. And I wonder why, there are people that actually suffer. Haven't quite Avena Gilbert Liswaniso. They really, really suffered. They were tortured. I mean, if you listen to Gilbert Liswaniso's story, you can even cry. The way Gilbert was tortured, you can cry. I'm telling you. I don't know how many people have heard that story, but if you ever listen to that story, how he was tortured, very inhumane.
Gilbert suffered under.
JJ Banda is even enjoying right now. I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
He's enjoying.
Well, here's what I think the police are treating JJ Banda with kids' clubs. I don't know how many times we're going to say this on this podcast, because why even, the guy is faking it. He's faking all those,
I think, Madam Moderator, the tone that this intentional thinking man is setting for Zambia, I'm happy to say he has really made a big change. He wants the rule of law. He wants you to be respected. He even talked about buying mattresses for prisoners.
Well, of course, he's done that,
So,
but this is
so,
deep
so
thinker. This is Africa.
correct.
This is Africa. I mean, you want to follow the rule of law at the expense of being, being accused of being a softie, because that's what's going on right now. That's why you have Lungu and his band of vagabonds, going around the country doing, saying whatever they're doing, because they think, they're untouchable. I mean, that's the way I look at it.
That is true, but sometimes you don't, you know, there's a saying that expect what you inspect. He's inspecting the rule of law, and that's what he's expecting. These are the people. He's not giving them too much energy, because what you put energy into as a president, it rises to a certain level of consideration by people. Lunga and his people, what they're doing now is they're crying for attention. They're not getting it. They're crying for it. Because if Lungu was really a statesperson, he would have gone to HH and say, "Look, you're accusing me of A, B, C, D. Lift what is it?
Immunity.
Immunity. Lift it, and then let me go through the process of court of law that you are emphasizing." He goes out in public to say that. That's crying for help. But nobody is willing to listen to him, except the ones that are desperate because of different circumstances that they're caught up in.
Right on, right on.
I'm all the way with the HH on the rule of law. Because some of the things that were happening in the past, I don't care. You can say Lungu's time, you can go back to Chiruba's time and the Kaunda's time. Those things should not be happening to any person in the land that they call their country. It should never happen. Those things should not happen.
All right.
I'll give you an example, and I'll be quiet.
Talk to me.
When I was at Unza, Kaunda arrested some of my friends. One of my friends was hung up in the air, in the roof. He was hanging there. They were trying to get, they were interrogating him, trying to get information from him. He didn't have any information to give them. Those guys told him, "We're leaving, we're going for lunch, we'll be back." And he was still hanging up there. They came back from lunch after hours and let him down and realized he didn't have information.
No.
They just realized they picked the wrong guy.
No, my God.
Those things should not be happening in the land you call my country. It should not.
Yeah. Looking at a deep thinker's angle, really, yeah, that's good. But we also need to look at that's why UPND cadres they accept what the commander says. Okay, they have accepted and they're obeying to the commander's wishes to say, "Don't revenge." And he has given instructions to the police, "Go and investigate before you arrest." Okay? So there's no, in fact, even they're not even worried, these opposition leaders, as much as they go online on TV saying, "Oh, democracy is shrinking," because that's the first thing I will hear from any opposition leader is democracy is shrinking. That's the first word I hear. As when immediately they say that, tomorrow an investor is in Zambia. Next day there is this investor coming in. This investor, because they are seeing that our bantu aba tabakwata amani, and they've got nothing to offer for the people. If they compare what the previous government or how Zambians were living for the last 7 years, and now people are more happier now. Even the PF cadres are more happy. You see, they're even joining UPND. You see, and they're even messing up the UPND because now it's an man of Yavu, so they've joined the UPND and they're making UPND look bad because they've joined the UPND. So this is a good move for him. And to be honest, I mean, it's a beacon. You can understand that. But if it was just me and you, I mean, I would have been different. You see, that's why they say if into Peronalesa. Because God has chosen HH to be the president right now at this time because he's the leader that is needed in this country. Because if it was a different leader, this country would have been at war. We could have been at war. There would have been civil fight. There would have been civil war. We would have found people from the north, south. They're fighting each other. It would be a Congo or a Rwanda.
Right. And shall we end today's podcast with a rant? And let's just kind of tell someone on here that there won't be any talk about Arsenal because it's off season. But just talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's
Soccer will start
okay.
when soccer starts. Soccer hasn't started
know.
yet.
Oh, no. Oh.
No, London forever.
Ah.
Whatever the weather.
How do you finish
Uh,
off the
that's about it.
podcast without
That's
Arsenal? Oh,
that's all. There won't be any talk about any Arsenal, anything like that. But you know, just unload what's on your heart today. Let's start with you, my lovely lousy husband, Dr. Liswaniso.
Soccer, the Premier League, or you're talking about this Europe Cup?
Let's talk about the European, Europe, whatever.
This Europe Cup going on right now.
Yeah, and quite honest. Anyway, go ahead, my lousy husband.
I'm following two tournaments right now. The South American tournament where Canada is participating, of course.
Of course.
For the first time. And I'm also following this Europe Cup, whatever, for these European countries. So I'm right now watching Germany versus Switzerland. But the European standards of football has gone down in my way, generally. This is not the Germany, this is not the Italy we used to watch those days when we were at Yunza, looking at Italy playing or Germany playing. The standards have gone down in football, to be honest, in Europe. But when I look at South American soccer, which I'm watching again, which is going on right now, the standards are so much superior, so much superior compared to the European soccer. Anyway, Premier League, Arsenal. I know Arsenal is the most talkative type of team.
Really, dog?
They
Really,
talk
dog?
Air, just
Dog.
a hot air.
Dog.
They just always talk. But
hot balloon air.
yes,
Oh, come on.
yes. Actually,
All right, Doc, you're done. Doc, you're done.
They have been.
Done?
the past two seasons, Arsenal was given the opportunity to win the league on the silver plate, really on the silver plate. And they messed it up. They messed up everything.
All right.
They don't even know what that is.
You
give them something in their. This is yours, and towards the last 3 weeks, they mess it up. So they think you can't continue.
Doc, you are done. Let's move on. Let's move on.
I was still listening to
I gave you guys a chance to talk about.
No, Arsenal fans have to be told.
No, the burden. But look at what you're doing.
You can't handle the truth. You like Lungu now. You can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth. What do you mean I can't? That's not hard.
I'm beginning to doubt maybe you're awkward because they don't handle the truth.
Oh my God.
Arsenal next season might be the number 10 on the chip. I think so. This coming season, nothing. They're not going to be near number 2.
You're being generous.
BantuTv. Take on these two people. They're really irritating me right now. Take them on.
Problem abantu abayishayishwa bola n'izi season. You know, sometimes soccer, chimo chine kwati avena Lungu. Lungu was the Lungu that time. Manchester United or Manchester that time. Soccer has changed dramatically, where at a level whereby Manchester United cannot even keep up. So, if we're looking at this coming season, we're coming even stronger and harder. Because
you always do.
Yes, but where are you? What number are you? Ask where are we? So we're always improving. Every year we're improving. You're not improving. I don't even know what term to use.
No, improving means when you are given something on a silver plate, you take it and you clean it up. That's what improving. That's what.
Every season it's the same talk. Next we are coming stronger and what? And then they will lead. We are now calling Arsenal the place holders.
Mm-hmm.
They hold the place for 28 weeks.
In mathematics, we call that 0.
Yes. After 28 weeks, 30th week, done. You're out.
Chawama na from class number 2 than number 50.
Yeah.
Chawama ni group 1 than group 3. Group 3 tware baba group 3. Group 1. Yeah, I have to group 1. So which one is better? You want to be in group 1 or group 3?
Yeah,
I would rather look
on record. He's on record that BantuTv United is what was the word you're using?
Madam Moderator.
Yeah, rebranding.
Let me say this.
You guys are still rebranding?
I would rather we're losing but rebranding than we're winning and then on a silver plate we can't even do it.
All right, we're done. We have a new entrant here. Oh, he came in towards the end. Oh, that's my other lousy husband in Soweto. What actually so which one?
He's not for us. No, you can try whatever.
You guys speak lousy, I try. Which one, Mama Smith? Which one?
Which one?
He's trying to get you to support you. Please don't fall for the trap.
It was all dark here, and the router was off, and power has just been restored. I said, "Wow, let me get the last bit of the meeting."
Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah, you joined on a dark moment when you were talking about the dark Arsenal.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
What I can tell you, Mr. Souteni, me, those are the only words I know. I just know a few words. It was Chwani, Souteni.
Maybe better than you, Bachelor.
Eh,
I think I speak some very good Lozi around here. I'm
of
just
course you
saying.
do. Of course you do. You're multiple pathway.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
eh,
perfect Lozi.
how wouldn't you know?
What? What? I know almost everything. At least half of the laws. Ni catchile,
Niketile. I know that one.
Yes, I know that one. Anyway, my lousy husband from Solwezi, we are towards the end. We're about to wrap up, so just unload whatever is on your heart tonight. Speak from your heart. What do you want to talk about? What do you want the world to know from your heart today?
Yeah, not much as such. Just to just see the opposition and the issues that they are bringing up and so on. But what I think there must be civility in the manner the opposition is bringing out issues. I mean, I got disappointed when the former president, I think, was referring to the current president as Mambala. I just said, wow,
Oh yeah,
what
I
type of
forgot about that one. Yes, you bring out
yeah,
this.
I find it's very unfortunate. I mean, there must be the language should just be civil and people should be friendly. But now, if we begin to go to that level, I get concerned really as a person. I mean, the fact that we are saying that Zambia is a Christian nation, but look at what we are doing now, and that is also it's like really tempting the other person to take certain actions, but which is unfortunate. And then they'll be saying no, it is political and so on. I think as a former president, is supposed to set high standards, but that's what leadership, entails. He must be a model and so on. But unfortunately, that's what I can say for now.
Nikaponya
You
sawa.
guys,
Iba
you
akaponya na
guys
imwe bade.
honestly think
Iba akaponya.
Mr. Chabalungu is a person that you can look up to as some source of inspiration, somebody you can, get your moral compass from, really. I mean, for me, really, what he said at that rally, it's not surprising. It's nothing new. That is loud. That's what he feeds on. You
That's
know,
very true. That's very true.
I mean, I don't see anything that Mr. Lungu would say any different. That's his language, and unfortunately, for the past 7 years, Zambians have accepted that kind of deposition as the norm, which unfortunately it shouldn't be. Lady Sarah, you're coming in
Oh
on
my
a
God.
toes end as well.
Mwachagwisa vasera na imwe.
Yeah, how mwandini fyakutafyalifula. Sorry,
Walivokwisa pa last minute.
Sorry, so apande ada kunchito. I was just a little bit held up with some other meetings.
Okay, quickly go into Balungu.
If it's kitwe.
Kitwe kityoto ko mrepo kuingiramo.
Balungu bali fulungana. Ela bale chaba echecha tshani ati Mambala. Lungu nikabova mwe. Lungu. I was so surprised, and what I can say is that Zambia is bigger than Kitwe, Changanamai. So when I what they saw in Kitwe, that's how the country is, Chimpwena, but Zambia was Chimpwena, but I'm going to take a one and if you are a Monica.
Monica.
By the Mupueneka, Chimpwena Chidia. But the Zambians, they know who Lungu is, and they know how bad he was. They can never forget that. They can never forget that. So that rally, the iPhone 15, blah blah blah. He's forgetting that the same Rahari Kalaba was the one who was telling us how Lungu got rich quickly. You know, he was condemning the PF, and that's how he resigned from that party. But how come today Nabakolongana Bamba Konombokula for Yokulala Nalandefia Ukuba Kukito Kudia the iPhone 15 Vadia. I don't know if he even got it. The iPhone 15. That's what I can say. Nothing, they are not going anywhere.
All right. Gentlemen and lady, it's been over 2.5 hours. It's time to wrap up. Shall we then start with the man that came in last? My handsome, nosy husband in Soweto, Woma Suliso, and then we're gonna go to Lady Sarah, and then Dr. Dan, of course, Deep Thinker, and BantuTv. In that order, please. Let's wrap this up and see what the rest of the Sunday looks like.
Okay, for me, I that's the problem of coming at the very end of whatever is happening. I don't have much to say. Oh, I hope you have a good time. I hope next time I'm going to come in early and so that I would have much interaction. All the best during the week and so on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lady Sarah.
Because I've come in late and I cannot take your time. You guys, you've been there a long time. So I can just wish you well, and I wish our UPND government, not to listen to those people crying foul in Kitwe Changanamai. Thank you.
Great. Doc.
Hello.
Doc.
Hello. Yes, I'm here.
You have the floor. Your final words for the
Oh, my final thought about Lungu and the Uka. If I were to be their consultant, I would tell them to do the first things first. The first thing is to have their constitution, bring their constitutions together, and come up with a united front, which they're going to be telling the Zambians. Right now, they don't have any constitution. They don't even have any, what do they call the manifesto, which they can present to the Zambian people. They're just talking like headless chickens. So they should do first things first. And if they continue doing what they're doing, they will be surprised that their big fish Lungu will not be allowed to stand come 2026. They have to do their homework first before they start doing these rallies they're talking about. This is just like somebody who is very disorganized, really. It's like going into an exam room without studying and you expect to pass.
Doctor, sorry
Yeah.
to cut you short, Doctor. He's not the big fish. He's the big snake.
Yeah. So I think they should do first things first in any organization. There are steps that you have to take. They are too much in a hurry to talk to the Zambian people before they put their house in place. So I see them going nowhere. And one thing which is going to make them disintegrate very soon, it is the funding. Because right now, they don't even have the proper funding plan. How are they going to be funding their activities? All of them are depending on the big snake that is going to be dropping some few coins here and there. But at one time, the big snake is going to say, you know what, the only one who's been spending, what about you guys? So, and that's what's going to lead to their disintegration. Right now, they don't have any budget. They don't have they've nothing written down as how they're going to operate, which is very dangerous and very stupid, really.
Right. Do you think of Valentine?
For me, I'm not ranting. I'm just challenging every Zambian home or abroad in diaspora. Think about politics and economics. What is it in economics? What is it that we value the most as a country, that we put up all our pride aside and keep the eyes on that prize economically? What is it that, just one thing we can identify everybody, whether you're PF, whether you UQA, you UPND, what is it right now as PF, as PF, UPND, as Zambians, what is it that we can say that is what we agree on, and we can put our differences aside for that economic factor and then protect that? Because until we identify some of the things that we wanted to protect economically, politically, socially, until we get to that point where we can identify to say this is for everybody, we can protect this, it becomes very hard to do politics, to follow politics, to improve the economy, to do economics in the Zambian setting, because somebody is always there to sabotage something. So I'm challenging Zambians to think about what is it that is so prized that we give our pride away for that. That's my rant and comment for the week.
Brilliant. That's Lucia.
Well, it's been a hell of a week, and looking at the most developing issues. I think we forgot to talk about the energy sector. Maybe we'll talk about it next week, and what the current government is doing. But overall, Avena, Lungu, and a whole bunch of them, they are just, they're clueless, really, and the politics they're dealing with or doing are really not the politics that the current Zambian people want to listen to. So Ngamwamon, I feel like the way he was talking, the words he was using. I don't know if he was thinking if he used those words, he's going to appeal to the people of the Copper Belt, but you know, you need to you have to be like a mature kind of person. You cannot go and degrade yourself and become in your second childhood, like you become a child again. Like, how is that possible? So I was just listening to him, and I was very disappointed for one, and I don't know how many members they have that can go and say, "Oh, that was a brilliant speech. That was a top-notch speech from a top-notch lawyer." I don't know how many people can say that. So really, overall, while he is saying that the president is going looking for investors to come and invest in the country, and we've been seeing the pouring investment so far. Investors are very happy to say, you know what, we're happy to come and invest in Zambia now that you are the president. Because before, there was so much bureaucracy, there was so much corruption. If people want to come in and invest, they want bright envelopes. All the ministers wanted this. Like, it made it difficult for investors to come in. Just even when investors are coming in generally to invest, but because of how corrupt people were, they ended up being corrupt. That's why we ended up seeing all these corrupt deals, overpriced road prices, because of this kind of the mentality and the culture that they were leading. Now that the culture is over, we have a new culture now. We want to do straight business, clean business. Mama. So yeah, that's what I can say for now. Thank you.
All right. And on that note, this has been another episode of Bantu TV, and I am the one and only Kalinda Shachinda from Shikatenda Village
Lugwalo.
and Lugwalo.
Thank you.
Our viewers, keep the faith. Until next week for another episode. Ciao, ciao.